Good afternoon. Thank you all for understanding about me canceling class. I know you're all very disappointed. I appreciate it though, and most importantly, I don't want to get anybody else sick with the flu because it's pretty nasty. But wanted to talk a little bit about Chapter 4, the scope of advertising from local to global, because it is an important chapter. I know last week we touched on Chapter 5. And I hope you all completed your homework, which was the Maslow hierarchy of needs, finding an advertisement for each one of the of Maslow's needs. In Chapter 4, we're going to talk about the scope of the advertising from local to global. I just want to talk about a couple things. I won't keep you that long. So in this chapter, we're going to identify the various groups in advertising and their relationships, describe what advertisers do, and detail organizational structures, define the main types of agencies, explain what people do in ad agencies, discuss how agencies get money and clients, explain how the media and suppliers help, describe stages in the agency and client relationship, and describe factors that affect agency-client relationships. So the advertising industry, the organizations, when you're in the advertising or marketing industry or promotional industry, you're going to run into these types of people. You have your advertisers, who are you if you work for a brand or a company. The agencies, which are the individual companies that manage the relationship with you and are responsible for putting forth the marketing promotional strategy for your brand. The suppliers, of course, are the technical suppliers. If, for instance, my wife's company, they use production companies to film their TV commercials. They use copywriters. They use actors, actresses. They have firms that provide talent to the agencies for that type of work. And of course, the media, which is the vehicle that you use to deliver your messages. So talking about advertising industry people, these are the most often employed by advertisers and not clients. Researchers, sales, managers, accountants, computer scientists, and analytic people. Attorneys, artists, writers, photographers, musicians, performers, and cinematographers. These are often not kept in-house at a brand or a company. You usually have to work with an agency to hire these types of people. The average company, such as Joe's TV and Appliance, doesn't have these types of people. Obviously, the positions in the red are more of your business type positions in the advertising world, and the blue people are more of the creative type people. But all go together to work as one to produce a product for a client. Advertisers in a local, directed to customers in the same geographic area. You have franchisees and dealers, such as car dealerships, franchisees such as Pizza Hut or McDonald's, Chipotle. You have specialty businesses. Specialty businesses include law firms, stores, shoe stores, things like that. Sellers of branded merchandise. You have individual stores that sell branded merchandise, such as like the Indian store or anything like that. You also have governments and nonprofits that make up, and these are all areas, these are all types of businesses that work with advertisers. Typical structure of small advertisers with high volumes of work. This is typical ad agency. Advertisers with high volumes of work. You have your creative department, your media planning department, and then your marketing services department, all underneath a manager or an advertising manager. Types of local advertising. The types of local advertising are product advertisements. You'll see these a lot in ads that are featuring a certain product or service for sale. You have institutional ads that are more of imaging or branding ads. You'll see this because you'll know that this is that type of ad because there's no individual product. It's more about the company and what the company stands for and what they're doing. And then, of course, classified ads. You'll see this a lot with HR, people putting together advertising for positions to be hired, or even selling merchandise. Okay, now ads can all be created locally using experts, or ads can be created cooperatively. And just to talk about the different co-ops that are available, and this is important because this is what your homework is dealing with. You have either a vertical co-op or a horizontal co-op. Now, how they differ is vertical co-ops, the manufacturer provides a completed ad and shares the cost. A lot of times you'll see these ads, like for instance a car brand. We talked about Tony Robbins and his Mercedes ads and showing the car and everything. And at the very end, it'll say visit your local Mercedes-Benz dealer in North Olmsted. All right, this is a professional quality ad for a local. The great part about this, if you work with a vertical co-op, the manufacturer assumes most of the costs. You as a local business or franchisee don't have to pay very much. You're getting pretty much next to free advertisements. They control everything, the production, everything. It's a great way to go. Another type of co-op that you can do is a horizontal co-op. Firms in the same business or part of town advertise jointly. This expands your advertising budget. A lot of times you'll see this happening with partnerships. The Bedford Auto Mile is one, for instance. It's a group of individual businesses that try to promote you coming to that stretch of those car dealerships in Bedford. For instance, if I worked at Cedar Point, if I was a marketing manager at Cedar Point, obviously I would want to work with other businesses in Sandusky, maybe the Kalahari Water Park, maybe the Marriott, maybe a couple other places that we could work together to minimize our individual costs and put together one advertisement that encompasses come to Sandusky and enjoy, Put-in-Bay, enjoy our hotels, enjoy Cedar Point. Something that we could advertise jointly that would benefit all our businesses. So your homework assignment for next week is you're put in charge of Pizza Hut of Berea. You are now the marketing manager of Pizza Hut Berea. And as a marketing manager, I am expecting you to put together a plan for both a vertical co-op and a horizontal co-op advertisement strategy. So what I would like you to do is detail out a plan for an ad, both a vertical co-op and a horizontal co-op, and then what I'd like you to do is create an image ad for both. Alright, so walk me through what a vertical co-op ad strategy would look like and what a horizontal co-op ad strategy would look like. Talk it out. I'm not looking for a 2 to 3 page paper. One page would be more than enough, and then one ad for each opportunity. Moving on, advertisers can also work together regionally or nationally. You'll see this a lot of times on TV, as especially with McDonald's. Northeast NEO McDonald's is often used when they're putting together advertisements for McDonald's. You'll notice that the McDonald's commercials are regional. They serve either one state or several states. And then national ads. You'll see national ads a lot of times for TV shows and different products and services. And these reach across the entire United States. Again, we talked about the top 10 advertisers in the United States in 2008 and how that has changed dramatically. Regional and national advertisers, the differences between, usually national advertisements, the focus is on the brand, market share, and the markets. And these are usually long-term campaigns and very expensive. All right, local ads are very on point. They're aimed towards a certain sales number. They're very tactical, and they're aimed mostly at specific consumers or segments. They're short-term in nature, and they're not very costly when compared to national ads. So that's a little bit of difference between regional, local, and national ads. Next, we'll talk about different types of marketing departments. Now, this is an example of a decentralized department structure, noting that each division has its own individual product head. Sometimes these share marketing responsibilities, but a decentralized system basically splits out the product uses. Divisions are responsible for their own product lines, marketing, and profits. Each division has an advertising department to coordinate sales and promotion across brands, and the corporate advertising department provides information and guidance for each one of those divisions. Global advertising assumption is that products' use and needs are all universal. It's a standardized approach in all countries, and extensive research is used to ensure the ad is basic and universal. Now, a lot of times when we're talking about a global advertising strategy, you don't see it happen very often because our cultures are so different. In fact, keyboards are different. Western civilization, we read from left to right, whereas in the Eastern civilizations, they read from right to left. So a lot of times you don't see global advertising strategy put together because we're just such a different group of people. Okay. However, when you do, they're very brand oriented, they're very image centric, and they appeal to basic human emotions and interests. We talk about the Coke commercial where we'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Again, this is universal emotion and universal interest is peace and love and happiness, and that is a great example of a global advertising. Roles of ad agencies. An ad agency is very client-oriented. Ad agencies work for the client. They're independent in nature and they have no ties to anybody else. All right? They have both a business staff and creative staff. They contract, they do all the media buying and time buying for you, so you don't have to. And all agencies should have a good understanding of not only global but regional and local advertisements as well. Some agency types, some specialize in reach. Some agencies specialize in being able to advertise locally or nationally. That's how some brand themselves. Some brand themselves by the range of services they offer. In fact, the company that I work with, Kuno Creative, is more of a business-to-business agency that's geared towards B2B companies or manufacturing companies rather than consumer companies. Sometimes there's specialty agencies. I've done a little bit of work for an agency that deals only with green industry companies that are geared towards landscapers and lawn care companies. So really, these are the three different ways that agencies differentiate themselves. These are just a little bit of the people within agencies. And this is a typical ad agency structure. Compensation for agencies. Usually there's a couple different ways that agencies get paid. Agencies, they sometimes earn commissions off of media. They mark up their costs based on materials plus a certain profit margin. And then fees, sometimes they use different fee structures, a fee commission combination, a straight retainer, or an incentive-based commission. Now, I will warn you that you won't see many agencies use an incentive-based system because they want to be paid for the amount of work they're paying in rather than the success of the overall program. So usually you see a fee commission combination or a straight retainer method. Working with agencies in-house, the pros may be that you're going to save yourself some money. You have tighter control. They're more focused on the brand. The cons are you're not going to find very high-end creative people, less experience and talent, and they're going to lose their objectivity. They're going to think that their brand is the top brand when an agency can take a look at the overall landscape of the industry and say, well, this brand may be better than yours. Client relationships, obviously finding and attracting new clients is an important part of an agency work, presentation, solicitation. A lot of times they receive referrals of other agency or other clients and manufacturers. The agency relationship stages with a client. There's the pre-relationship where an RFP is issued, so request for proposal. So somebody turns in a proposal to a client, they accept it, and then you develop the actual advertising strategy and the collateral. And then you maintain that collateral and you maintain that strategy and modify it. And then unfortunately, there is the termination of the client agency relationship. The 4 C's of a good client-agency relationship is chemistry, making sure that your visions align. Communication, making sure that there's adequate communication between the two companies. Conducting themselves in the best way possible. And being able to change on the fly based on results. Suppliers, obviously the agencies don't have all their resources in-house. They often work with suppliers to do things to get artwork and website designs, the actual advertisement materials printed, the TV commercials made, and then also the data companies that help them put together the targeting and segmentation models sometimes are individual research companies. And the last slide, some examples of some of the media that is out there. Obviously print collateral, electronic collateral, digital interactive such as websites. You have social media, you have out of home, direct mail, and other types of media. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick 5-10 minute talk about our chapter. Don't forget to turn in your homework tonight, as well as your co-op assignment that is due next week. And I will see you next Wednesday.